Hey guys, it's Lindsay from With a Little Love and Luck. This right here is probably the biggest form of slow torture for me, watching myself on camera, listening to my own voice. Makes me terribly nervous. So I'm going to read from the piece that I originally submitted to Baby Talk magazine, and I will elaborate a little bit because I will mumble a lot if I don't have something to read from. My postpartum depression and anxiety went undiagnosed for 6 months, despite my protests to my doctor. During pregnancy, I knew I was at a higher risk for postpartum depression because of my history of depression that had generally gone undiagnosed from high school and college. My doctor agreed to watch me closely for symptoms, but at my postpartum appointment, he asked me only if I was having thoughts about hurting the baby or myself, and I said no. During those long months, I fell into motherhood naturally. Friends and strangers complimented my abilities as a mom. What I couldn't do was be a mother in addition to a wife and my Jill of all trades self. Even with his unending patience and love, I started to resent my husband. I recoiled every time he tried to get close to me. I felt so alone except for my son, despite all the support anyone could ask for. I was surrounded by friends and family at all times, but I felt like B and I were the only two people in the world. I would lay awake at night thinking about how messed up I was. I stared at my husband while he slept, wanting to reach out to him, but couldn't. Something invisible held me back that I just couldn't explain. I cried while I breastfed our son because he became the only person I felt connected to. I knew I loved my husband, but something just wasn't right. I told my doctor I was having intense, frequent headaches. I told him I wasn't sleeping well, though the baby slept for 6-hour stretches, and that I was experiencing extreme mood swings. I was feeling numbness in my extremities that came and went at random. He attributed the headaches to dehydration or allergy season and said the other symptoms were normal for new motherhood. It took all of my courage to admit that sex was still terribly painful 4 months later and that I had no desire whatsoever. The doctor told me to suck it up or my husband would fulfill his needs elsewhere. He looked me dead in the eye, and he told me that. His nurse tried to convince me to get out of my own head and surprise myself by putting on a cute pair of heels and some lingerie. I never saw that doctor again. Except I couldn't get his words out of my head, even though I knew deep down that I had nothing to worry about. It only added to my resentment toward my husband. Maybe he should be with someone else. Maybe he could be getting what he needed elsewhere, instead of this frigid shell that he called a wife. This continued for 5 agonizing months. I finally pieced together my symptoms via postpartum progress. Casey Mullins' "You Are Not" was life-changing for me. After reading it, I summoned up the courage to ask my son's pediatrician for a referral, and that's how I found my new primary care physician and my therapist, doctors who were finally willing to listen to me. I found medication that was safe for breastfeeding. I continued to advocate for myself when I was questioned about the safety of this medication while I was breastfeeding. My husband and I repaired the cracks in our foundation. I found an incredible community of women with stories like mine via PPD chat. I finally feel like myself again. My son is a perfect, healthy, troublemaking 2.5-year-old. I still take medication, and I might for the rest of my life. But to be the best mom and wife I can be, I'll do whatever it takes. So I want you all to know that a diagnosis is not the end of the world. You can find yourself again, and you might even come out better on the other end of it. I believe that I have. I found myself, I found my voice, I learned how to stand up for myself, which I had never learned how to do before. And sometimes I still have trouble, I still have bad days, but there's so many good days that make everything that I've been through worthwhile. And I wouldn't have all of you in my life if I hadn't gone through this. And I've met so many people through Lauren and through Catherine who have just absolutely been life-changing in the best way. So thank you for that. Thank you for lifting me up. Thank you for supporting me. And I'm always here to help if anyone needs me. That's it. See you guys later. I hope I didn't mumble too much.